Good evening? I think I say this a lot, but what is the cut-off from afternoon to evening? Like, when is it socially acceptable to move from afternoon to evening? I always used to think it was when I'd finished work, which, typically around 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock. Hi. So, where are we? I have been not here. I have not been here. I don't know, the last couple of days, we had a hugely manic cleaning day on Monday. Like, house top to bottom kind of cleaning day. By the time we'd stopped, I just didn't have it in me to talk. So it was just, no. And then my intention was to stream early yesterday afternoon. And I don't really know what happened, but the day completely got away from me. And then I had to go out and teach. So that didn't happen either. So here I am. I really, really, really wanted to get this game finished kind of this week. This week, next week. So I'm just gonna plug along for a couple of hours. I might do a little bit of a longer stream today, simply because I think I've got a little bit of space and time between now and when my sister gets back. I was meant to be doing a live tonight, but it's all gone a bit wrong, so that's not happening either. The people that were attending now can't attend for various reasons, so I have a spare few hours, you guys, so I'm going to spend it with you and Phoenix Wright. So, shall we grab the game? Let's grab the game. I'm really hoping to finish it because I don't know whether I've put this in my bio, I think, but I've missed so many games through. I spent a lot of years getting qualified to do the work that I do now. My yoga teacher training and various other trainings that I've done on top of that, which was all very intense. And then prior to that, there's the whole, I was in relationships, or I was working a lot. Lots of reasons that meant I did not keep up with games. I always played the odd few, like I've played every single Pokemon that they've brought out. There are certain games where I've played religiously over the years. Sims is one of them. But as far as releases went, I was not keeping on top of them, especially sort of the last, I'd say, decade, really. And I'm playing a lot of catch up now, catching up on old games. And we have the Game Pass for the Xbox, which is, it's fine. It's good. It does exactly what it says on the tin. But they add games to that at a rate that my mind cannot handle, which is fabulous because there's always something new to play. But I am not getting through these games fast enough in order to catch up. Not that I could ever catch up on every single game ever released, but I would like to have checked a few off the list. So next year, because we're running really, really close to the end of this year now, next year is going to be a big push for me to do some serious catch-up, some serious gameplay, and hopefully stream as much of it as I can. So let's get back into the trial. I think I started this very early. I don't think I started this particular day, so we should be good. Yeah, 9:46 a.m. Good morning, Mr. Wright. Good morning, Maggie. So, what do you think is going to happen today, sir? Yesterday's session didn't go so well and ended on a giant mystery. That's true. And we still haven't solved a single part of it yet. Are you okay, Nick? Huh? Oh, yeah, of course. I saw that little flash of doubt in your eyes. No, That wasn't doubt, that was determination. Why don't I believe you? It's nearly time, Maggie. You'd better get going to the defendant's seat. Roger, don't let me down, Mr. Wright. I'm counting on you. Oh, well, that's a lot of pressure. That's a lot of pressure. Hey, pal. Hey, Detective Gumshoe. Quit stressing Maggie out. She doesn't need that. How did you know she was stressed? Oh, of course Archie has woken up immediately. You know the drill. As soon as I press live, the dog gets up. He's a very old boy. He's nearly 15, and he mostly snoozes all day, but he really picks his moments as to when he wants to get up and be around. I just need to make sure I've got one eye on him because I need to go and help him out the house if he needs to go for a week, because he can't. He struggles a little bit with steps and that now. So we go and help him. So I just need to keep one eye on what he's doing for a second. He's having a big drink at the moment, so he might just come back to bed. Oh, there's Xbox reminding me to get my points. Okay. Let's see what he's going to do. He's coming back. Oh, he's gone to his dinner bowl. So he might be hungry. He might be hungry. Yes, he's now staring at me with the big eyes, which means hungry. Okay, just give me 2 seconds, you guys. So sorry to disturb the very beginning of a stream. But you know, it is what it is. Okay, I'll be back in a second. Hey, I'm back for a minute. Okay, so we've been outside. We've done our business. And now we're eating. So he might need me to go and let him back out in a second, because he tends to do this. He goes out for a wee first, has something to eat, then goes out to do the number 2 afterwards, because, you know, he likes his little routines. So I might have to just pop and help him. It was nice going in the kitchen though. We've got French bread in the bread maker, and it smells so good. It smells so good. Okay, so let's do a little bit more. Oh, welcome to my life, guys. Welcome to my life. It's just chaos from start to finish. The whole day, just chaos, start to finish. Okay. How did you know she was stressed? I was watching through the doorway. Oh. You look like you lost the case already. Show a bit of confidence, will you, pal? Here, maybe this'll help. Huh? Have you taken up aromatherapy too? Not in a million years, pal. Don't tell me that you don't remember this thing. Come to think of it, that doesn't look like one of those aromatherapy bottles. This is the small bottle that turned up in Trebien's kitchen a couple of days ago. Yeah, I remember. Wow, look at all these little bottles. Oh, they're aromatherapy oils. He's got so many, they're overflowing onto the floor. Hey, wait a minute. There's one bottle that's different from all the others. There's a song about that. Well, what do you know? And it doesn't have a label either. And it doesn't smell. We finally got the analysis results back from the lab. So, what is it? Is it the poison? I'm afraid not, pal. It's medication. Medication? Oh my god, is it ear medication? Yeah, for ears, yeah. Topical use only, apparently. For ears? You mean... Yeah, it's the medication Glenn Elg was using for his ruptured eardrum. What was Glenn Elg's ear medicine doing in the kitchen? Okay. Covered in unidentified fingerprints. What about the unidentified fingerprints? Anything on that? Someone screwed up, so they only had time to analyse the contents of the bottle. Another hour, and they might have gotten something on the prints, but that's going to weaken its impact as a piece of evidence. Okay, pal, this is it. Make sure your defence is impregnable today. Got it? Today's trial. I'm going to expose that guy, for what he's done. Oh, my name isn't Phoenix Wright. Oh, sneezy dog. You just have to be star of the show, don't you, Arch? He's currently rubbing his gravy face all over my furniture now. Get a dog, they said. It'd be fun, they said. Okay. Are you going to come and get back in bed, or do you need to go out? Nope, still wiping my face, he says. I'm burping. Gross. It's so disgusting, Arch. He's a very funny dog. Okay. Court is now in session for the trial of Maggie Bird. The defence is ready, Your Honour. Ready and waiting as always, Your Honour. Very good, then we'll get underway at once. Yesterday we heard the testimony of Mr. Victor Kudo. He claims to have witnessed the defendant putting a powder into the victim's coffee. However, the witness's testimony was plagued with a number of problems. The mark on the rim of the cup shows that the victim drank with it from his right hand, but according to the old man's testimony, he picked it up with his left hand. Thank you, Mr. Goddo. Furthermore, according to the witness's account, the victim was listening to the radio with an earpiece in his left ear. Yet, the victim's left eardrum was ruptured, which made him effectively deaf in that ear. Amazing how many contradictions in a single case can have, honey. You gonna get in bed then, Arch? Yeah. Yeah, you're gonna have another snooze. Yeah. He's just trying to find himself the best place to stick his head. Hey, drink your blankie. Here we go then. Drink your blankie. There we go. There we go. Get yourself comfy. We have to have blankets in this house. Apart from the fact she's very old. Yeah, he'll be 15 in March. We believe he's at least 15 in March. He was around 1 when we rescued him. So we don't actually know how old he was, but we've had him 14 years in March, and he was at least a year old when we got him. So he could be nearer to 16 for all we know, but yeah, he's doing a good job. So we have to keep him warm. We have to put lots and lots of blankets on him. We have to make sure that every little whim of his is adhered to, because he is the ruler of the house. He is the ruler of the house. Aren't you? You're gonna lie down. He's probably a little confused because he's woke up and my sister's gone to work, so he's probably like, oh, where's she gone now? Okay, so it's amazing how many contradictions a single case can have, huh, Nick? Okay, get my coffee. I've got a cup of coffee as well today, Goddo. Allow me to enlighten you, Your Honour. The world, you see, keeps turning, and we must turn with it. We don't have a lot of choice, my dude. We're stuck to it. You've lost me already, Mr. Goddo. Don't let the mysteries of yesterday... The yawns have started already. How far am I in? I don't think I've even spoken for 5 minutes yet. Don't let the mysteries of yesterday mystify you today. Only losers think like that. You've got to change with the times. That's one of my rules. Are you implying that you've resolved these contradictions? You know the answers to these riddles? The old guy wasn't just throwing seed in here. He was throwing us off the scent. Interesting. And today, I'll prove it. Very well. I'll let the first witness take the stand. Who have we got for the first witness? Okay, Frenchy boy. And I've just spilled my coffee. And you are... Oh, bonjour, everyone. I am Jean Armstrong, the owner and head chef of La Très Bien restaurant. Enchanté. Okay. Forgive me for asking, witness, but are you a woman? Oh la la, monsieur. As you can see, I am le pert and perky gentleman, no? On the day of the incident, you were in Trebien's kitchen. Isn't that right? With you, monsieur. Everything feels right. Well, he's totally unfazed. Doesn't anything intimidate this guy? Maybe not. Very well. Your testimony, please, witness. Please tell the court what happened that day at Trebien. We volunteers. What is that? What does that word mean? I'm not so good with the French. At Trebien, okay. But when it all happened, there were just 2 customers in my restaurant. I remember I was experimenting with some new art decos that day. Like having a large mirror between the tables, for example. What? A large mirror between the tables? Oui, perhaps that is what the old man was looking at. The cup, the earpiece, and the glasses. He would have seen everything in reverse, no? Mirror. That was my reaction too. Oui, un grand mirror. La most enormous mirror. Okay, and suddenly the mystery disappears. Well, like I said, the world keeps turning, so roll with it. That would explain the coffee cup and the earpiece conundrum. The mirror would have made everything appear back to front. What the heck? It's way too early in the morning for this to be happening to me. Now then, Mr. Wright, you may begin your cross-examination. Okay, so I have a little bit of a... I'm cheating ever so slightly. I've got a little bit of a walkthrough just at the side of me here, just so I make it through this game a little bit quicker, because I checked my... because I upload these, I don't edit them, because firstly, I don't have the time to learn how. And yeah, that's basically the whole gist of it. I just do not have the time right now to learn how to edit. I'm running a business and I'm a one-man band, so that takes up most of my day. So streaming's kind of my downtime, and I didn't want to make uploading to YouTube a big deal, so I've just been uploading these straight as they are, straight to YouTube. And I checked when the first upload of this game was, and it was the beginning of October. It was the 6th of October. And I was like, okay, that's nearly, well, that is 2 months. 2 months and counting now that I've been playing this game, almost exclusively. So I need to get through it a little bit quicker. So I've got a little bit of a walkthrough. I also want to hit the achievements. I'm a little bit of an achievement hunter. So this says I've got to press every statement because I'm going after this a particular achievement. So we're just going to press every statement that he's got. And it all happened. There were 2 customers in my restaurant, okay? And who were the 2 customers exactly? Me, of course, the young man who died, and the other not so young man. You are referring to yesterday's witness, I presume? Or what about the other man Maggie says she saw at the table? Something tells me Mr. Armstrong isn't planning to disclose his existence. We need some hard evidence first before we can bring him up, don't we? Okay, so I'll just have to try a different approach for the time being. Okay, I remember I was experimenting with some new Art Deco. Okay, that's about that. You were experimenting with Art Deco? How come I never heard about that before today? You are not familiar with the language of interior design, Monster. Please stay on topic. Now, why didn't you tell the court about this before? But I did, just a few moments ago. Excuse me, Mr. Armstrong. This deco you mentioned, are you referring to some sort of decatur? No, Art Deco. It's a style of design, Your Honour. He's talking about interior design. Walls, ceilings, carpets, that kind of thing. Ah, yes, of course, that deco. I was trying to achieve a more la feminite look for my restaurant. I was planning the most bold remodeling of la decor. Okay, like having a large mirror between the tables, for example. How big of a mirror are we talking about here? Something about 4 meters wide and, about 2 meters high. Let's see, if 1 meter is about 1 yard, holy glass in a frame, that's huge. I was intending to install it on the ceiling eventually. The ceiling? Was there a mirror on the ceiling? I don't remember. May not, but I decided not to go through with it in the end. Or what should I do? Should I ask you more about the mirror or not? Okay, let's just keep pressing, just in case I need to. If you really had such a large mirror in the restaurant, someone would have noticed it. But there's nothing about a mirror in Mr. Kudo or Maggie Bird's testimonies. But you didn't ask, Trite. You have only yourself to blame for such sloppy work. What? A mirror was delivered to Trebian the day before the incident. Really? As Mr. Armstrong testified, he was carrying out some design changes. And as it turned out, he didn't actually use the mirror in the end. This just doesn't add up. Even if a mirror was delivered to Trebian, and it doesn't prove that it was in the restaurant on the day of the crime. If you want to doubt someone, Trite, look in the mirror. I'm sure the person looking back at you will be dubious enough. So the witness yesterday had seen the victim reflected in a mirror. Oui. Perhaps that is what the old man was looking at. Okay. Normally, I'd expect people to know the difference between a reflection and a real object. Objection. Normally. How does normality come into this? That's lame, Trite. Even for you. Huh? Are you trying to say that if something isn't normal, it isn't possible? Is that it? Where does that leave the porky-headed lawyer and the top-knot chick over there? And the ungodly cool guy with the mask over here? Well, Trite. Not the hair. I do not have a top knot. Mr. Godot is correct. A lack of normality is no basis for discounting an argument. Bien. Logic as one lady. La coupe, la earpiece, and la glasses. It would have seen everything in reverse, no? Everything? He would have seen everything in reverse? Oh, oui. Okay, Nick. We should take a second think about what old Seedy said in his testimony. How did he phrase it again? The boy was wearing the earpiece on the same side as the green lens of his specs. No question. You can lock me up if I'm wrong. It was his left ear, without a doubt. Okay. And then he used the same hand to pick up the cup. His left hand. If he saw everything described reflected in a mirror, then everything he said he saw on the left was actually on the right. And that clears up all the problems with his testimony, I guess. Or does it? Huh. Ha! It's kind of hard to believe everything's the fault of a mirror, but do you think old Seedy saw everything through a reflection? If he did, it would explain all the contradictions in his testimony. But that just makes the situation worse for Maggie. There's got to be something in that old man's testimony. We've just got to dig deeper. Okay. So... Okay, so... Okay, so we're meant to present this, I think. Okay. The coffee cup, the earpiece, and the HMD. Let's think back over Mr. Kudo's testimony for a second, shall we? The boy was wearing the earpiece on the same side as the green lens of his specs. No question. You can lock me up if I'm wrong. It was his left ear, without a doubt. So, to summarise, we were told both the HMD and the earpiece were on the victim's left side. Now, if Mr. Kudo saw all that as a reflection in a mirror, it means both the HMD and the EPs were actually on the victim's right side. Exactement. You see, monsieur, now that you think about it, it's not so hard. Unfortunately, that's where we run into a monumental contradiction with the facts. If Mr. Kudo really did see everything in a mirror, why is it the HMD is now on the wrong side of his head? Order, order. Mr. Wright is correct. If the witness genuinely observed the victim reflected in a mirror, then we would expect the victim's eyepiece to have been over his right eye.
Objection.
Oh, bitter. Try it. You should have a taste of this bitterness. It'll calm you down in no time. Are we talking about your coffee or something completely different? You don't understand the way the witness thinks. How he thinks. You remember this, I presume? The I broke the vase, sorry apology letter. Mr. Kudo's sworn testimony. Exactly. The old man has one very grievous habit, other than throwing seeds. The more of an impression something makes, the more muddled his mind makes it. And what's the most striking thing about Mr. Elk? Clearly, it's the victim's eyepiece. And that's my point. The old man strikes again. Mr. Elk's HMD made a big impression on the old man. Okay. Feels like an excuse. I saw the earpiece and those newfangled spectacles he was wearing. Oh, yes. They were both on his left ear. Do you hear? His left ear. Ha. Well tried? Ugh. That's the worst, but best impression of Kudo ever. Wow, I really thought he was all seedy for a minute there. God, that was good. Enough. I must agree that yesterday's witness was irresponsibly rash in much of his testimony. Bad luck, Nick. Looks like the boil of a contradiction you just found is a rash. A mirror can't be beaten by a handful of seeds, nor can it lie. So, what exactly was the old man looking at? Fill us in, Mr. Armstrong. Go on, tell the court. We're all ears. Okay, so I can explain. Please, if you will look at the plans of the restaurant. Okay, so we're getting another testimony. Cool. Hello. Okay. Is everyone sitting? Is everyone sitting comfortably? The mirror, it was in the middle of the restaurant, dividing the two arms. There is only one seat from which you could have seen an image of the victim. That was the seat at the table next to the victim's. That was where the old man was sitting. After a terrible incident occurred, I moved the mirror so it was not in the way. But naturally, I did not touch anything else. Okay, so we've got to press every statement anyway, but... I see no problems with the explanation we have just heard. From the table next to the victims, Mr. Kudo could have seen the victim in the mirror. What a naughty little coquette I am, confusing all the men like this. Don't worry about it. Okay. We can keep up, except for the guy breaking out in a cold sweat over there again. I hate that guy. You said you didn't touch anything else apart from the mirror? Are you quite sure about that? Is it volontiers? Volontiers, of course. Very well. Mr. Wright, your cross-examination, if you please. I love it when my mouth doesn't do the thing it's meant to do in the whole speaky part. It's great fun. Okay. Cross-examination coming up. Press. So, run this by me again. The mirror was here, correct? Oui. Oui? Really? Because I know if I were you, I wouldn't have put a mirror there. It would be in the way.
Objection.
Look, who's talking? Try it. Huh? You're obstructing my view amongst other things. But this is my seat in the courtroom. Trebian's charm is that it gives you the impression that you're the only customer. Temporarily placing a mirror in that spot would hardly be in the way. Unlike you, Trite. I tell you, Monsieur. Is it Monsieur? Monsieur? The mirror was there, in the middle of the restaurant. There is only one seat from which you could have seen the image of the victim. Okay. And where would that be? Ooh la la, look how you lean toward me. I always attract the younger boys. Maybe I should keep you in suspense a little longer. Mr. Armstrong, tell the court what you know at once. I attract the older ones too. You know, handsome, shall I tease you too? I'm already seeing a very hot someone, so I'm afraid you'll be waiting for a long time. Bet she has mocha cream skin and cappuccino perfume. Yeah, I will tell you, there was only one seat from which you could have seen. That was the seat. Okay, that was where the old man was sitting. Sure. So why can you only see the victim from that particular seat? Yeah, Monsieur, it is obvious, no? If you look at the plans, you will understand. The victim would have been reflected in the mirror like so. If you were sitting at the table next to him, you would see everything, no? So that's the seat old Sadie was sitting in on that day, when the poisoning happened. The old man was sitting at the table next to the victim. Why does that seem kind of odd? After the terrible incident occurred, I moved the mirror so it was not in its way. Did you move the mirror while Mr. Kudo was off calling the police? Oh, oui, exactement. I carried it out of the restaurant then. You moved a huge mirror like that all by yourself? What can I say? I know how to pick things up, Anson. God, I actually laughed at something. Well, given the witness's physique, I suppose it is possible. Did you move anything else from the crime scene, Mr. Armstrong? I look like the obliging type, no? Naturally, I did not touch anything else. Well, that's a lie as well, because didn't you take the lottery ticket? Are you sure about that? I touched nothing except the mirror. Mr. Wright, is there something the witness has said that doesn't match the crime scene? Yeah, there is. I just can't put my finger on what exactly. Suffering from a case of heartburn, Trite? Oh, I have just the thing for that. An oil with golden myrrh and frankincense. Why is it frankincense? Add a few drops to your coffee and voila, enjoy. Focus, Phoenix. Breathe. I need to ignore those two and just find some evidence. It is pretty strange though, isn't it? I mean, nobody mentioned anything about a really large mirror. You'd think someone would have, but Maggie didn't, and neither did old CD. Then the only logical explanation is that there was no mirror inside Trebian that day. Now I've just got to prove it, somehow. Okay, the old man can't have been sitting there, but why? Let's have a look at this. Didn't he say he knocked over the vase? Well, that vase is still standing. It isn't broken. So that can't be true. Maybe we'd present that? Do a double check? Yeah. Objection. This piece of evidence contradicts with the testimony we have heard, Your Honour. The crime photo? Yes, this photo clearly shows something that theoretically should not exist. What on earth do you mean by that, Mr. Wright? Should not exist? Sounds like you're describing yourself, trite. Rude. Now then, if the defence would please clarify its statement. What is the something that should not exist in this photo? Well, it's this thing here. I think it's pretty obvious that this is what should not be in the picture. The vase. What possible connection does that have to do with this witness's testimony? Your Honour, I'm telling you that there should have been no vase on this table, because it very clearly contradicts with this piece of evidence. I got the love note. I broke the vase. This one. Okay. There is one thing that was clearly demonstrated by yesterday's testimony. Mr. Kudo broke the vase that was on the table where he was sitting. And yet, as the court can see, there is an unbroken vase on the table next to the victim. Why? Because Mr. Kudo was not, in fact, sitting at the table next to the victim at all.
Objection.
Don't be an idiot, trite. That's impossible. That seat's the only one Kudo could have seen the victim's reflection from. Exactly. There is only one conclusion we can draw from this contradiction. There was no mirror in Trebian that day. Your testimony, Mr. Armstrong, is an elaborate lie. Oh, dear.
Objection.
Don't try to confuse the court, trite. Obviously, the witness cleaned up the vase while the police were taking their time getting to the crime scene. Unfortunately, Mr. Godot, that doesn't quite work for me. Mr. Armstrong already testified to the contrary, in his own words. I did not touch anything else except the mirror. Well, witness, what do you have to say for yourself? I was right. There was no mirror in the restaurant that day. In light of this revelation, we return back to the original problem. Why did the victim have an earpiece in an ear which he couldn't hear? You only get one shot in life. There's no turning back. If you want to claim that the mirror wasn't there, trite, then this problem is all yours. How do you explain what the old man saw? If I can answer this, then I'll be much closer to the truth. I can feel it. Are you going to be okay? Can you really solve this contradiction, Nick? There's more than just this one contradiction, Maya. What do you mean? Remember what Maggie told us? There was another man at the victim's table, and there was a sample CD on the victim's table. It all flies in the face of Kudo's testimony. And I think I know the reason why nothing in this case is adding up. Well, Mr. Wright, let's hear your answer. Yes, Your Honour. The reason behind all of the contradictions in Mr. Kudo's testimony is simple. Victim was a phony. This case is riddled with contradictions. Yet, there is one very simple answer that clears them all up. And what is that? The incident Mr. Kudo witnessed and the incident the victim experienced were two completely different events. What? Yes, the victim that Mr. Kudo saw wasn't Mr. Glenn Elg at all. It was an imposter, a phony pretending to be Mr. Elg. Obviously, unlike the victim, there was nothing wrong with the imposter's left eardrum. That's how he ended up wearing the earpiece in his left ear by mistake. But what about the lip stain? Order. Order in the court. Settle down or I'll clear the courtroom. Quiet, Gramps. Why don't you clear out of here, huh? What did you say? Trite, are you saying that what Mr. Kudo saw was a setup? Yes. Someone pretended to be Glenn Elg and acted out the whole coffee poisoning. All for the express purpose of creating a witness out of one Mr. Victor Kudo.
Objection.
Get real, Trite. Why would anyone want to do that? Isn't it obvious? The thing Mr. Kudo was most insistent about in his testimony was the serving girl bought him a Jarvachino, but she put something in it. That's the serving girl right there in the defendant's chair. I remember her well. It's so hard to believe, but there was one and only one reason to show Mr. Kudo this fake poisoning. To show Maggie Bird in the act of poisoning the coffee.
Objection.
Are you insinuating that the waitress in the old man's story was a fake as well? It's true that there were no other customers in the restaurant at the time, but it's also true that the chef was there. He would have noticed what was happening. That's right. Well, witness, if your restaurant really was the scene of such theatrics, you would have known about it, correct? Ooh la la. This is most difficult for me. No, it's quite simple. All you have to do is testify. You are under oath, after all. Was there, in fact, a phony at Trebian that day? The defence demands that Mr. Armstrong tell the whole truth about what happened. The defence's request for additional testimony is accepted. You will accurately explain in detail the events in the restaurant that day. Oh, oui. The victim, Monsieur Elg. He came to my restaurant alone. I remember the old man arrived not long after him. There were no other customers. When he got word he won a lottery, Mon Elg became very excited. It was approximately 5 minutes later that the poisoning incident occurred. No, there was no time for a phony to do acting. Okay, so we've got it. Just so we're clear, there was no mirror in the restaurant after all? Je vous demande pardon. Forgive me, Your Honour. I lied because I wanted this mess to be cleared up quickly. What you have just done is commit perjury, Mr. Armstrong. I will decide how to punish you later. Oui. For now, we will hear your cross-examination. Mr. Wright, if you please. Okay. I'm guessing he'll be more serious trouble after the cross-examination. Okay. So I totally just skimmed over that for absolutely no reason. My brain went. Okay. The victim, Monsieur Elg, he came to my restaurant alone. Okay. Was he alone at his table as well? Maybe. I saw him from the kitchen. Yet the defendant, Miss Bird, remembers it differently. She swears there was another man at the victim's table.
Objection.
Ha! Unfortunately for you, Trite, yesterday's witness also testified that the victim was alone. You know, seeing you squirm like that reminds me of a certain coffee's bittersweet bite. What kind of coffee has he been drinking? It's not coffee, it's love. It's love that's bittersweet. No. Hearing Maya say that, it makes her seem wise all of a sudden. I remember the old man arrived not long after him. There were no other customers. Okay. I remember the old man arrived not long after him. Okay, so we need to press that one. I'm skimming through again. I think my brain's going numb. By old man, you mean Victor Kudo, correct? Oui. He comes often for my special coffee. I drank your coffee once, Mr. Armstrong. It's special, I'll give you that. It's worth a sip just for the experience. Oh, you make me so happy, monsieur. You are most welcome any time. I said it was worth one sip, and nothing more. So, old Mr. Kudo arrived at the restaurant around the same time as the victim? Maybe I should ask about his arrival in more detail. Okay, how many minutes after exactly? So you're saying that not much time elapsed between when the victim and Mr. Kudo arrived? Oui, that is correct. But that still leaves the possibility that something happened in that gap of time. And by your recollection, how much time would you say elapsed? It's approximately 2 minutes, I would say. 2 minutes. That's all. It seems unlikely that anything untoward could have happened in such a short time. Brits. Knew I shouldn't have pursued this line of questioning. There were no other customers, okay. So your only customers were Mr. Kudo and the victim.
Objection.
How many times do you need to ask the same thing, Trite? You'd never catch me drinking the same blend twice. Huh? You're trying to establish the presence of a phony victim in the restaurant, but you're wasting your time. You can't grind bird. Oh God, you can't grind birdseed to make coffee, if you catch my drift. But there's a hole in this testimony somewhere. I'm sure of it. Okay. Did you see him? No, I was in the kitchen, but I heard him. I remember him shouting, yes, $500,000. Presumably the defendant heard that too then, correct? Maggie? She looked like a poor little frightened dove. And what about Mr. Kudo? The old man choked on some bird seeds that got stuck in his throat. It seems we now have yet another incident on our hands. It was approximately 5 minutes later that the poisoning occurred, okay? What were you doing at that point? Without any customers, you must have had time to kill. I am a multi-talented woman, monsieur. Sorry. What do you mean? There is the renowned chef, Jean Armstrong, and the tragic poet, Clarice Armstrong. Clarice? Oh, I was writing a poem, an angry tale of a chef in $500,000 of debt, cooking for a man who won $500,000 on the lottery. It is called Pourquoi. It means why. Perhaps I could recite it for la court? Please don't. No, there was no time for a phony to do the acting. You mean you contacted the police as soon as the incident occurred? I asked the old man to call from the payphone. By your own argument, Trite. The purpose of this phony victim's performance was so the old man would see it. In other words, Once the incident occurred, this opportunity would completely disappear. Indeed. Bien. It seems the shadow of doubt has been lifted, n'est-ce pas? I guess Mr. Armstrong is connected to this case, huh? Absolutely. Someone was impersonating Mr. Alg, and I refused to believe he was oblivious. He was there the whole time after all. But if you're right, wouldn't Maggie have noticed too? She fell unconscious when the incident occurred, remember? Ah, you mean that's when the phony staged his act? We'll know for sure once I find a hole in this testimony. Okay, now I need to press on this one and get a different answer. And we want to ask what time it was. Out of curiosity, about what time was it when Mr. Kudo arrived? Oh, I cannot remember, monsieur. I believe we were told by a witness yesterday. The crime was reported at 2:25 p.m. by kind of a scary old man, sir. Does that perhaps jog your memory, witness? The incident happened about 20 minutes after he arrived, so the victim must have arrived between 2 p.m. and 2:10 p.m., no? Just after 2, huh? Thank you for your help in jogging my memory, monsieur. You are wonderful. I can't sit here all the time and do nothing now, can I? The time of day will be added to the witness's testimony. Oui, monsieur le judge. Everything I do it for you. Merci bien. That's French, isn't it? I'm glad at least one person is in a good mood. He's even humming a song to himself. I remember the old man just after 2 p.m. Okay. Are you absolutely sure about that time? When I think really hard, I am sure it was just after 2. Oui. It is the time I stopped serving the lunch menu. Quite right. I always break for lunch when the restaurants are serving their specials. I've been known to wind up a case early just to make it on time. Okay. I guess you should never get between a hungry judge and his lunch. Oh, would you look at that? It's almost lunchtime already. Witness, get on with your testimony, please. Okay. So, we've got something with timings on in here. Winning lottery ticket. Okay, so he couldn't have come in at 2 p.m. because the radio show that announces the lottery numbers is on at 1:30. So we've got a problem. Okay, so let's present that. I'm afraid I finally got you, Mr. Armstrong. What? What do you mean? At the time in question, the victim was listening to the radio with his earpiece. The show he was listening to was Millionaire Radio. Each week, they announced the winning numbers of the $500,000 lottery ticket. Oui, that must be the show Monelg was listening to. I can't see any problem with this testimony, Mr. Wright. I wonder. You say that the victim arrived at your restaurant after 2 p.m., correct? Oui, I am sure of it. I remember it perfectly now. I know it was at that time because I had just finished serving the lunch menu. Get to the point, Trite, if you have one. That show is broadcast live at 1:30 p.m. and it claims to be the most thrilling 10 minutes of your life. It's on the air at 1:30. Yep, it's a problem, isn't it? Now, supposedly, the victim made some noise when it was announced that he had won. Oh, if you can hear that beeping, you guys, that is our bread maker. The bread is ready. The bread is ready. And yet, I don't believe his cry of joy could have occurred after 2 p.m. It's true. Because the show had already finished more than 30 minutes earlier by that point in time. No. No. This victim we've been told about has done nothing but the impossible. Listening to the radio with a ruptured eardrum, catching a show that was already over. There is only one conclusion you can draw from these facts. There really is. This victim was an imposter, acting out the poisoning 30 minutes after the real murder. It's true. Yes, there were 2 Glen Elgs in Trebienne that day. The real Glen Elg, now dead, having been poisoned by the real killer. And the phony Glen Elg, acting out the events for Mr. Kudo to witness. It certainly seems that way. I mean, if that wasn't the case, how could you explain the time discrepancy?
Objection.
Quite a performance, Trite. You were almost on a roll. I'll give you almost. But sadly, you lack the rock-hard foundation of rhythm to build your song. Okay, what is this? Music Theory 101. Let's recap. According to your imaginative theory, it's now just after 2 p.m. Yes, that's true. The phony Elg is performing a play for the benefit of Mr. Kudo. Yeah. How do you explain then where the real Glen Elg is? I don't believe I have to spell this out for the court. However, at that time, the real Glen Elg was already dead. I mean, obviously. Obviously. That's certainly the obvious conclusion.
Objection.
Thank you, Trite. That's exactly what I was hoping you would say. What? Now, I presume you can prove this theory of yours? Can I? Can you explain where the missing corpse went to? Maybe. Do we know where the missing corpse went to? The missing corpse? According to the old man's testimony, there was only one other customer there. If that customer was the phony Glen Elg, then where did the killer hide the body of the real victim? Maybe it's in the food. I mean, oh, I missed that. If your theory is to stand up to examination by the court, you must provide us with proof by answering the prosecution's question. Where did the killer hide the body? Yes, Your Honour. No conjecture, Trite. Let's hear some facts for once. Show the court a piece of evidence that proves where the body was hidden. Evidence. What's with the intense pressure in here all of a sudden? Yeah, what is with the intense pressure in here all of a sudden? I thought I had him with that contradiction. Same. But he's turned it all around and backed me into a corner instead. Yeah. Well, Mr. Wright, the court will now hear the defence's theory and evidence. Okay. First of all, Where was the body of the real Mr. L concealed? Well, I mean, it's got to still be inside the restaurant, surely. It would have been too dangerous to take the body outside, obviously. The body must have been hidden somewhere inside Trebienne. I mean, it must have been. So what have we found? We've got that bottle of ear stuff that was found in the kitchen. So is he in the kitchen? Do we have him in the kitchen? We could, yeah, let's try for the kitchen. Interesting. But where could a body have been hidden inside a restaurant? Perhaps you would care to show the court on these plans, Mr. Wright. Sure, yes, Your Honour. I would like to show you the kitchen. The exact location where the body was hidden would have been this kitchen right here. The body was hidden here. I see. Nice supposition. But the real question is, can you back it up? Maybe. Where's the evidence that proves the body was hidden in that location? So let's present the ear bottle. Mr. Armstrong, do you recognise this bottle? No. No. I have never seen that ugly bottle before in my life. I only use the very best bottles. I'm sure it's the highest quality only for me. Okay. So that might shoot you in the foot, just saying. Where was that bottle found, Mr. Wright? Interestingly enough, Your Honour, it was found in the kitchen of Trebienne. Eh? What? But I only ever use these bottles for my aromatherapy oils. You're digging a hole, mate. But this bottle doesn't contain aromatherapy oil, Mr. Armstrong. No, it contains a medication. What kind of medication? I'm sure everyone remembers, don't they? That Mr. Elg visited an otolaryngological clinic. Oh dear Lord, that word is too hard. It's just too hard. Why is it a thing? Oh, okay. And was given medication that day. You can't be serious. I kind of am. A little bit. The defence had the contents of the bottle analysed, and I have the lab results here. The contents of the bottle match the prescription that was given to Mr. Elk. Glenn Elk's murderer hid the body in the restaurant in the kitchen, at which time this bottle fell out of the victim's pocket. Just fell. Mr. Armstrong, when the incident occurred, didn't you say you were in the kitchen? Mon Dieu. Yes, you know what I'm about to say. It was you who hid the victim's body. You did a fine job pretending to defend my client, Maggie Bird, however. You were setting her up to take the fall behind the poor girl's back. That's mean. No. Order. This is an extraordinary development. Witness, did you murder Glenn Elk? Never. I could not do such a horrible thing. Okay. Mr. Godot. The bitterness, okay. Every time I get lied to, I always down a mug of coffee. That's one of my rules. Do you have the slightest idea how many cups you've had by now? I don't think he does. Then I like to do the same with the person who lied to me. I like to take them down with my empty cup. Listen up, chef. How about a brand new flavour in your ear, my H-deficient friend? Je vous demande pardon. Please, you must hear me out. It is a trap. Listen to me, por favor. Yo hablo español. Yo hablo español. Mr. Armstrong, and por favor. Por favor is Spanish. I'm only going to ask you once. Did you do it? No. No. Absolutely not. Okay. You simply. What did you simply? Let's hear it. You've got one shot. Right, Gramps? Yeah, right, Gramps? Witness, the court will permit you the chance to make one final statement. If you lie under oath again, Mr. Godot's coffee mug awaits you. I mean, that's a threat and a half. As does my gavel. I mean, sure. Oui, it is clear. What do they always say in the movies? I've got a bad feeling about this. Yeah, me too. Very well. Begin your final testimony, Mr. Armstrong. The confession. It is true, I hid the body in the kitchen, so you did do it, you little minx. You. A man forced me to do it. I had no choice. Okay, you had no choice. Is that true? Is it true? Just 1 second. Sorry, my brain wasn't working then. I had to go along with him because there was a reason I could not refuse. Okay, there's a reason he could not refuse. But I did not kill him, I swear it. You must believe me. Okay, we must believe you, sure. You were forced? By who? I cannot say, or I will be erased. Very dramatic. Let's try a different question then. Yeah, let's try a different question. When Mr. L died, was he really the only person at the table? There was. Oh, we're going to get to the truth of the matter now, aren't we? There was another man. I knew it. Maggie was telling the truth. Of course she was. You may cross-examine the witness now, Mr. Wright. There's just one more thing I need to do. I gotta break this guy and get him to tell us the name of the real killer. Okay. Okay, so we've got to press on every statement. So let's start with the first one. It's true, I hid the body in the kitchen. No, it doesn't help me if I skip it. Okay, let's stream. Let's press. Did you carry the body by yourself? Well, did you? Did you do it? Did you do it? Oui, I carried him. And I carried Maggie too. Of course, you would have had to have moved Maggie. Maggie too. Well, I mean, it makes sense, doesn't it, that he's got... When she saw her victim collapse, she fainted. I could not leave her there. But why did you hide the bodies? A man forced me to do it. I had no choice. Okay, you had no choice, but did you have a choice, though? What man? Who was he? No, I cannot say. I fear for my life. He's really scared. You'll just have to put the words in his mouth, Nick. Yeah, you're right. If he won't tell me, I'll tell him. Okay. But why would you go along with this man? Why would we go along with this man? I had to go along with him because there was a reason why I could not refuse. And what reason would that be, Mr. Armstrong? You know, monsieur. Yes. Surely you cannot expect a young maiden to talk about such an embarrassment. Maiden, you're a bit old to get away with that. And a bit too male. I can't finish the cross-examination without establishing his reason. So I'll just have to prove it with evidence. But I did not kill him. I swear it. You must believe me. Okay. He's already confessed this much. Might as well stop dancing around the real issue. Yeah, but he really doesn't want to tell us who the killer is. No, he really doesn't, does he? Then suck it to him, Nick. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. It's not really. It is true, I hid the body in the kitchen. Okay, so... On the second statement, a man forced me to do it. Oh, I didn't really want to press this. We want to present at that point. Okay, we want to present this guy's... Let's end this dance of Ring Around the Rosie, Mr. Armstrong. This is the man that you've been referring to. I mean... Who is that? You should know. I feel like I've seen him somewhere before. Yes. Oh, I don't know. Maybe a month ago in this very courtroom. Pretending to be me. This is Furio Tigre. He's the manager of a loan office called Tender Lender. There's no point trying to hide the truth anymore, Mr. Armstrong. I know you couldn't go against Mr. Tigre. At least not while he had this on you. We got the loan documents still. $500,000 loan from a black market loan shark. And you had no way of paying it back, did you? That's why you were forced to do anything this man told you. Oui. It is as you say. Mr. Armstrong. Le Tiger. He told me he was going to use my restaurant for a business rendezvous. On the day in question, he was meeting the victim to demand that he repay his loan. I don't know why it happened like that. I just did what he told me to do. I had no choice. It carried the body and the inconstant Maggie out of the dining area and into the kitchen. After that, I just tried to forget what I had seen. I think we can now safely say that the man who forced your hand was Mr. Furio Tigre. I do have one further question for you, Mr. Armstrong. The poison and the lottery ticket that were found in the defendant's apron pocket, was that your doing as well? No, I knew nothing about that. Making it look like it was Maggie who had done it, I was not. It is despicable. Mr. Godot, you will summon this Furio Tigre as a witness. I doubt that can be arranged for today, so we will adjourn for now. Proceedings will continue tomorrow. No, are we going to go straight in? 30 minutes. What? The trial will go on. I will see to it myself. I need half an hour to get that guy on the stand. Not a minute more. How the... Don't sit back and relax yet, Trite. No one knows if that chef is really telling the truth or not. This trial could still go either way. Very well. Your request is granted, Mr. Godot. We will resume once Mr. Tigre is ready to take the stand. Until then, court is adjourned for a 30-minute recess. Okay. So let's save that. And then let's crack on with the last part of this trial, I believe. So we're finally going to see the tiger on the stand. I mean, it should be an interesting thing. We've almost got this case won now, Nick. Have we? Have we? I wish I could agree. I mean, I'm with Nick on this one. Huh? When I cross-examined Mr. Armstrong just now, he said he was just doing what the tiger told him to do. It's true. But Godot picked up on it, remember? He pointed out that without proof, we don't need to know if what he testified is the truth. That is interesting. You mean, you think Mr. Armstrong was lying? Potentially. I don't know. But if that's the line the prosecution takes, we could be in trouble. I get the feeling that we don't have the case-making evidence we're going to need. Potentially not, no. Unless... Hey, pal. Detective Gumshoe. What are you so jumpy about, Detective? Your hair's standing on end. Hey, that's the pot calling the kettle black, little Miss Topknot. It's not a top knot. I mean... Never mind about the hair. Just calm down, all right? I can't stand when I still don't have a job to do. I kind of get wound up. He's not doing well, is he? Ah. No kidding. You gotta have something you need me to do, pal. Anything. What can we get him to do? Well, hey, I'm going to take a jog back down to the precinct. I could get some prints analysed for you if you've got an hour. An hour? The trial will have reconvened by then. But Nick, we still don't have a really decisive piece of evidence, right? True, without some kind of trump card to pull out of the bag, we're really stuck. You said you could get some fingerprint analysis done in an hour? You bet. In that case, would you mind checking the prints on this for me? The little bottle? The little bottle hashtag maybe? I think this is probably the thing. If you're going back to the station anyway, could you find out whose prints are on this? Oh, hey. That's the small bottle I gave you back this morning, right? Yeah. I think it's time we solve the last mystery of who the prints on it belong to. Sure thing, pal. Actually, that's been gnawing at me too. Okay, so we've given... Okay, I'll get this off to the lab right away. Just make sure you don't lose the case before I get back. This is pretty much the final showdown, I guess. It's time to separate the phonies from the real guys. Okay. So we're back in port. Court will now reconvene. Mr. Godot, did you find this Furio Tigre? I even tamed him for you. It was a 3-cup job. No problem. Tamed him. Guy's name may be Furio Tigre, but come on. He's pretty lively. Be careful. He still bites. Very well. Please show Mr. Tigre to the stand. A witness. Please state your name and occupation for the... Don't hide under the table, Maya. Unless there's room down there for me to. Would you... What you say to me? Nothing. I didn't say nothing. Honest. Who could have guessed that fear would induce a bad Brooklyn accent in the judge? I got business to take care of, you hear me? So who the hell called me into this hole? Was it you, Spiky? No, of course not. It was the judge. Your Honor. Oh dear. I seem to have dropped my pen. Where on earth is it? Don't mind me, just carry on with the proceedings as normal. That's it. We're doomed. Maybe you didn't hear me. I said, who the hell was it that called me in here? There's no need to shout. We can all hear you. What do you say? There's no point struggling. You're caught in a snare. The relentless snare of the law. And I'm the one that hauled you in. Too cool. Don't let him get the better of you, Nick. Let's start with the basics. You know about the incident in question, correct? Incident? I don't know nothing about no stinking incident, Mask Boy. You mean you didn't attend the previous trial of Maggie Bird? Maggie who? I got more important things to do than watch courtroom dramas. Of course. Well, perhaps you could give us your testimony then? Please tell us about what you did on the day of the murder. Phoenix Wright. You's the one who set this up, didn't you? You's gonna regret the day you ruffled the tiger's fur. You hear what I'm saying? Maybe I should have brought a diaper with me today? Get a grip, Nick. Okay, the tiger's alibi. Don't know nothing about no murder. I was tied up with business in December last year. Spent all of my time in my office. I got whales lined up to borrow cash from tenderlender every single day. You want to check my alibi? Just ask Violetta. Ah, at last, I found my pen. Very well. What is it? Please, witness, if you could refrain from shouting out like that. I know the kind of games that guy in the blue plays. That lowlife ain't no lawyer. He just punches away at stupid details until he wins. Lowlife? Me? Listen up, smarty. Every time you ask me something that doesn't relate to this case, I'm going to bill you $50,000 and you're going to borrow the cash from me. That's one loan contract I refuse to sign. Don't think it ain't going to hurt when you tangle with the tiger. Oh dear. So we're in a bit of a pickle. I love a good spectator sport. Just a minute. That's really not... This witness is... How can I put it? A hungry tiger roaming the urban jungle. Get on his bad side and he'll bite everyone's heads off. Yours too. Okay. Very well. I have no choice but to impose a penalty system here. You better be listening. I said I got business to take care of. Big business. If I don't split now, I ain't gonna catch my bus. Okay. The court will impose a penalty for any irrelevant pressing of witness testimony. Okay. Keep that in mind as you begin your cross-examination, Mr. Wright. Yes, Your Honour. You can do it, Nick. Come out from under there already, would you, Maya? Okay. Have we got a long day? Is it going to be a long afternoon? Okay, just having a look. There's going to be a lot of testimony. Okay. Well, that's fine. So... the tiger's alibi. Okay. Let's press on this. Are you sure about that? We're talking about 1 month ago, you know. You see these teeth? That's how sharp my secretary is. Sharp? Is he talking about Viola Cadaverini? She writes everything in my scheduler. December, mainly in the office. That's what it says. So that's where I was. That seems like a rather sketchy schedule. There he goes again. What the tiger did all December isn't the issue. What's important is what he was doing on the day of the murder. So now what? Keep pressing. Mr. Tigra, what do you want? If you wouldn't mind going into a bit more detail. This is a dead-end trite, and you know it. Remember the rules. No, it's essential that we establish the witness's alibi accurately. I agree. The victim was killed on December the 3rd. Were you in the office that day too? Maybe yous ain't listening. Of course I was. I never set foot outside. I had meetings all day with a bunch of cats wanting to do business with me. I ain't never seen that young kid before. I do believe the witness's last statement was important. Mr. Godot, if you could please... Mr. Tigra, the court asks you to add that last statement to your testimony. Don't let an animal beat you. Be a man, Your Honour, and ask him yourself. Okay. The day she's talking about, I was in the office too. I never saw that kid before. Okay, so... we have the calendar that says otherwise. Mr. Tigra, you claim you didn't know Mr. Glenn Elg, but it appears that Mr. Elg knew you. What? Mr. Elg left this little note on his calendar. Meet with the tiger. And the date? December 3rd. December 3rd? That's the day of the murder. So, Mr. Tigra, I submit that you did indeed know one Mr. Glen Elg, because on the very day of the incident, you met with him. Not bad. He's actually not bad. Sorry. I was just messing with you to see how good you were. Did you hear that, Nick? He said you're not bad. That's one compliment I could do without. Plus, he's lying through his teeth. Witness, please remember that you're under oath. Lies will not be tolerated. You're calling me a liar? Is that what you're doing? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. So proper, Scooby-Doo. So you're saying that your claim to have never seen that kid before is the truth? I said I'm dead serious. You better believe that's the truth. Huh. Then I'd say that gives me time to enjoy another cup of pure black magic. That is, while you testify for the court again, Mr. Tigra. Oh, yes. Would you mind indulging the court, witness? He never actually met the victim. That's got to be a lie right there. It's time I nailed this guy. Okay. Okay. What have we got? I ain't no liar. I never met Glen Elg. There was some lame guy with that name, though. Wanted to borrow cash from me. I set up a meeting with the guy at my office, tender lender. I waited around for him, but he ain't ever showed. I ain't never been to that Trebien joint. He's here. Oh, we've got matches from your place that say otherwise. I see. That all seems perfectly logical. You had arranged to meet with the victim, but he didn't show up. I've heard it's pretty hard to keep appointments when you're dead. Very well. You may begin your cross-examination, Mr. Wright. Yes, Your Honour. Didn't I tell you I got a big deal going down today? I ain't going to make my bus now. I'm going to have to take the express train. That bill's going straight to you, right? Okay. So, we need to press on the point of the Trebien thing, because that is a lie. Okay, we've got the matches. Where are the matches when they're at home? We got the pin, we got the CD, we got the things, we got the matches. There they are. Mr. Tigra, is there something you'd like to tell the court about these matches? Matches? What are you talking about? We found them in your office at Tenderlender. They're from that restaurant. If you've really never been to Trebien before, what was a book of restaurant matches doing on your desk? You've been snooping around my stuff now too, wise guy. What are you, my ball and chain? Ain't no broad controlling me. Okay, I don't think that's relevant, sir, but okay. Order, order. Well, witness, I think it's time you started telling us the truth, don't you? Sorry, I'm terribly sorry. Forgive me. I ain't no pussycat. I don't go back on what I said. But, okay, I was at the joint that day. What? But listen good, alright? I might have been there, but I still never met that kid. Well, well. Looks like an order just came in for another testimony. I'm this close to proving it was him. He did meet Glen Elg that day. And he did put poison in his coffee. He must have. Okay, Trebien, okay. I was supposed to meet with the kid at the restaurant that afternoon. When I opened the door to the joint, I saw one ugly scene. The guy was laid out over the table, stiff as concrete. I figured if the place wasn't hot already, it was gonna be, so I split. I heard the cops' sirens on my way out, and I went straight back to my office. That can't possibly be true. You wouldn't have been able to see him from the door. I see, you didn't actually meet with him in the end then. Well, Mr. Wright, your cross-examination, please. Yes, Your Honour. Hold it. If I wait around here any longer, I ain't even going to make the normal express. No more stupid questions. No problem. Anytime Tripe presses you on something irrelevant, I'll see he pays a penalty. Mr. Godot, that's my job. Your job is to slam that little hammer of yours and call a guilty verdict. So do it. Yes, sir. The Special Express ain't cheap, right? Just so you know, since you's paying. Oh, man. Doesn't the rule of law mean anything around here? Probably not. Très bien. I'm supposed to meet with the kid. Okay. I don't think you would have been able to see this. Have I got floor plans? Blueprints of the crime scene? Yeah, if you've come in through that door, there's no way you could see that. Let's present this. You're something of a loan-collecting pro, aren't you, Mr. Tigre? No one escapes the tiger's clutches. Well, I'm something of a lie-detecting pro. And no one escapes the Phoenix's clutches. I think it's time we got something straight. What's this, Trite? A new line of irrelevant questioning? These are the floor plans of the crime scene. You say you were standing at the entrance, Mr. Tigre? From there, your field of vision would have covered an area something like this. Indeed. The witness would have had a clear view of the victim's seat. Isn't that what I just said? I saw the back of the kid's head. No. Unfortunately for you, that is not possible. If the court would think back, you'll remember that between each of the tables is a tall partition. Why, that's true. Now look at the plans again. The truth is painfully obvious. From the entrance, the field of vision of any customer walking in ends here. So, from the entrance of Trebian, you couldn't have seen the victim's seat. But you did see the victim that day, because you met with him.
Objection.
Wrong. Have you forgotten the old man's testimony yesterday? The victim was alone at his table. But the defence just proved that point to be moot. The victim, witnessed by Mr. Kudo, was not Glenn Elg, but a fake. What? In order to have Mr. Kudo falsely testify, the real killer posed as a victim he had just killed and acted out a charade. Okay. That will do. This trial has gone on long enough without the obvious question being answered. Who exactly was this real killer who impersonated the victim? You say the killer murdered Glenn Elg and then impersonated his victim in a performance for Victor Kudo. In that case, Mr. Wright, reveal the identity of this criminal to the court. Okay, so we're going to throw Mr. Tigre under the bus then? Yes. Obviously, the killer is Furio Tigre. No one else could have done it. What? Well, witness? Now that's cute. You think you can pin this on the tiger? Maybe you don't understand. The tiger is king of the jungle, so I dares you to say it again. Come on, you got the guts? You can't threaten me, Mr. Tigre. It's the defence. Go ahead and tell the witness, Mr. Wright. Mr. Wright? Sounds to me like it must be you, old man. You've got guts. I'll give you that. Mr. Wright, do not leave me to handle this alone. Perhaps I can end this embarrassment. Mr. Godot, let's just go back over Mr. Kudo's testimony one more time. The old man didn't just see the victim. Oh, no, no, no. Serving girl bought him a Javachino, but she put something in it. There's no question about it. She very conspicuously put some white powder in there. Was the victim he saw the real victim or not? That doesn't matter. The fact remains, he saw the accused put the poison into the coffee. Yes, it was the waitress who poisoned the coffee. Very impressive, Mr. Godot, waiting for my absence to launch your attack. Ha! Found your pen at last, Trite? It was in my pocket. But anyway, Mr. Kudo witnessed two people that day. He saw the victim, the supposed Mr. Glenn Elk, and the waitress from behind. Yes, your point, Mr. Wright? I think the conclusion is obvious. If this Glenn Elk was really the killer in disguise, then surely it's possible the waitress was also part of the show. What? You mean the waitress was an imposter as well? The defendant, Miss Bird, fell unconscious immediately after the incident, and someone used her fainting to hatch an elaborate plan to pin the murder on her. Who on earth was it? Who was this waitress that Mr. Kudo witnessed? So it was definitely one Viola. Okay, who is this woman? Her name is Viola Cadaverini. She's an employee of Tenderlander. He's making a big mistake. You know who Violetta's grandfather is? You'd better be going home in an armoured truck tonight, if you know what I mean. Stop shaking, Nick. Where was I? Yes, the defendant, Miss Bird, has stated the following. Well, when I took the coffee over to the victim's table, it's true there was another customer in the restaurant. She was sort of creepy, and she had a kind of cackling laugh. There are just too many contradictions in this case. The second man at the victim's table, who nobody but Miss Bird seems to have seen. The earpiece worn by the victim in his left ear when that eardrum was ruptured. And the radio show he was supposedly listening to half an hour after it was over. There's only one logical explanation that clears up all of these contradictions. The whole incident took place twice. Once for real and once for show. And Mr. Furio Tigre, the only person who could have committed the crime, is you. It's you. Not me, not Hermione, you. Witness, what have you got to say? That's cute. Sorry? He's alright. I could do with a guy like you around. What do you mean? Okay, I'm in on this game. I'm going to have to charter a jet to get me to my meeting now, but I'm going to give you one more thing to think about before I go. Something to think about. You've got it all wrapped up nice, huh, right? But you've missed out one real important thing. But that can't be. I was in the joint that day, and I met that kid too. But I couldn't have poisoned him, he's here. What? Do you really expect us to believe you now, Mr. Tigre? Huh. What a troublemaker. I mean, he is a bit of a troublemaker. Looks like we're going to need one for the road. One more steaming cup of hot testimony. Indeed. Witness, you will explain yourself to the court. I will give you one more chance to testify. What happened that day at Trebienne between yourself and the victim? Yeah, I loaned Elle cash, about $100,000. That day, we was due to have a little chat. The kid had hit his payback date, see? So anyway, he tells me he's got no way to pay her. I'm about to flatten the guy when he starts screaming. Yes, I won. $500,000. He got lucky, you know. Real lucky. If that waitress hadn't done what she done, everything would have been over. Now, I see that the principal amount you loaned to Mr. Alg was $50,000. Yeah, well, you've got the VIG to take into account. Interest bills up fast, you know. That's faster than fast. $100,000 is twice his principal. And the repayment deadline was December 3rd, the day of the incident in question. Yeah, he was one lucky kid. He got that $500,000 just in time. So I ain't have no reason to kill the kid. And if I ain't got no motive, you ain't got no case. His motive? He has to have one, but what is it? Okay. Hadn't done what? The waitress. You mean the girl with the glasses in the defendant's chair? Who else could I mean? If she hadn't gotten in the way, things would have been bada bing, bada boom, over and done with. Maybe I should push a little on this. Let's ask how things would have been. What's going on? What do you mean? Things would have been over and done with? Are yous all there or what? I'm talking about the cash. I was there to get my $100,000 back. That's all. I'm a businessman. It was all coming together before that waitress got in the way. As far as I can tell from the witness's testimony, other than recouping his loan, Mr. Tigra had no motive for killing the victim. Witness, you will amend your testimony to reflect what you just said. The tiger's motive, huh? I was after the $100,000. I didn't have no other reason to kill the guy. So why did you steal the CD? So you just intended to get back the $100,000 Mr. Elg owed you, correct? I loaned the guy the cash, so that's my right. Unfortunately for Mr. Elg, I don't believe the $100,000 is what you were really after.
Objection.
What are you getting at, Trite? What else could a moneylender be after other than money? Oh, the moneylender was after money, but money in a totally different league. The kind of money that a single disc like this would fetch. What is that? A computer virus, Your Honour. A virus called MC Bomber. A computer virus? What does one of those do? A computer virus is a program that wreaks havoc on the insides of a computer. A computer? Well, what does one of those do? I guess the beard isn't the only part of His Honour that is from the Stone Age. I'll explain it to you later, Your Honour. Right now, this is an important point. A virus like MC Bomber would be worth several $1 million on the black market. Several $1 million. Lending money with no hope of ever seeing repayment would normally be bad for business. But in this case, the very fact that Glen Elg had no way to repay the money is crucial. What? Glen Elg was a programmer, a highly skilled programmer. That skill was the collateral Mr. Elg put up in order to borrow the money.
Objection.
You're trying to suggest the witness's motive was to get a hold of that program. Exactly. The witness may have poor fashion sense, but he is by no means an idiot, Trite. A man like him could get his hands on $1 million without resorting to murder. Of course he could, provided that he had time. But what if he had needed the money right then? When the pressure's on, the luxury of choice tends to disappear. It seems you have a logical conclusion for this theory, Mr. Wright. Would you care to share it with us? Why did Mr. Tigra need money to the tune of $1 million? Because of this. In December of last year, you found yourself in need of a huge amount of money. About 6 months ago, you were involved in a traffic accident, weren't you? An accident involving a car and a scooter, in which a young woman was injured. She was taken to the hospital where she underwent surgery. How much of this do you know? These medical papers document the treatment of the young woman in question. According to these, her operation cost $1 million. And yet, when the payment was due last month, you somehow managed to pay it in full. $1 million, a preposterous sum. Someone should sue these HMOs. No one would pay a bill like that. If the medical association got wind of it, the hospital would end up as dead as a morgue. But Mr. Tigra had no choice but to pay, because his very life depended on it. Order, order, order. You say his life depended on it, Mr. Wright? Indeed it did, simply because the injured woman was none other than Viola Cadaverini. Back up. Did you say Cadaverini? Bruto Cadaverini, mob boss in charge of all underworld activities in the city, and doting grandfather to his precious Violetta, also known as Viola Cadaverini. Your life was in danger unless you paid compensation to the boss, correct? It makes sense. You were desperate to acquire the $1 million Bruto Cadaverini demanded of you. So desperate, in fact, that you decided to sacrifice Glenelg's life to pay your debt. On the day of the murder, Mr. Tigra's sole intention was to get his hands on this CD. Glenelg had no way of paying back the $100,000, and Mr. Tigra knew it. But then a miracle happened. The kind that Mr. Tigra would prefer to say never happened, but he can't, and neither can I. The lottery win. Exactly. At the 11th hour, Mr. Alg won $500,000 on the lottery, which left Mr. Tigra with no way of getting his hands on the all-important CD. At least, no legitimate way. So he resorted to illegitimate means. But that's crazy. He murdered Glenelg and then made his next move. To frame Maggie Bird for his crime. I mean, seems legit. Mr. Tigra posed as Glenelg. While Viola Cadaverini played the role of Miss Bird. And then they reenacted the whole thing in order to establish a witness. The witness being the one we all heard testify yesterday, Mr. Victor Kudo.
Objection.
Like I said, Trite, that's crazy. No one could pull off a stunt like that. For starters, there's no way the chef could have been kept in the dark about it. But Mr. Armstrong was in on it from the very beginning. Have you forgotten already, Mr. Godot? Mr. Armstrong owed the witness money too. $500,000, in fact. He had no choice but to go along with Mr. Tigre's plan. Order, order, silence, or you's put on a good show, Spiky. It's the bread, reminding me that it's done. So we need to make sure that we don't leave it in there forever. If you want to stay alive in the loan shark business, you got to be careful. You saying I dressed up like that kid, created a witness, and framed someone? If I did something crazy like that, I'd leave a trail as bright as my shirt. And I ain't dumb enough to do something sloppy like that. I agree. You do. Despite your appearance, you are very careful. That's why you took one more precaution. One more trick to make sure Miss Bird had no way out. What? Another one, Mr. Wright? Interesting. Why don't you fill us all in, Trite? What was this trick you say Mr. Tigre performed to frame the accused? Okay, so he made up the fact that he was a lawyer. What on earth is that? What an insult to think anyone could be fooled by such a childish imitation. Consider yourself insulted, Your Honour. Mr. Tigre, you didn't just pose as a victim on the day in question. A month ago, in this very court, you posed as me. What? That's the truth. But the witness looks nothing like you, Mr. Wright. Although, now that I think about it, it was you, wasn't it? No doubt it was you, standing in here this very court a mere month ago. The Phoenix Wright who put up the most disreputable, shabby defence I have ever seen. Can you prove that, Gramps? Prove the attorney who represented the accused here a month ago was this man? Are you prepared to take the stand and testify that it was him? Hey. Forget about it, yeah? I wouldn't do something like that. Not me. You made a mistake, right? It was someone else, huh? Have you no pride, sir? This isn't a matter of pride. In case you didn't know, Trite, here in court, we deal with people's lives. Mr. Goddo is right, Your Honour. Speaking for myself, I am absolutely convinced. The attorney in question was the witness standing before me now. However, I preside over this court as the judge, with the vested power to hand down a verdict. Someone in my position cannot be swayed by a memory without evidence to support it. Well, that's stupid, because clearly, if the defence has no further evidence, the court will now excuse the witness. The circumstances surrounding Mr. Tigre are dubious for sure, but not conclusive. How are they not conclusive? But we've come so far. You say he impersonated Glenelg. You say he impersonated you. But none of that adds up to a murder charge. You don't have a shred of evidence that the witness poisoned the victim's coffee. Sucks to be you, right? Don't mess with the tiger or you're gonna get mauled. He's got that. All we managed to do here was chase him around a bit. But I was so close to getting him to admit his own guilt. Huh. Looks like I won't be needing a refill. If I just had one more piece of evidence, and maybe I could get Maggie off the hook. Is Gumshoe going to come through with the fingies? This witness's cross-examination is over. You are free to go, Mr. Tigre. Come on, Gumshoe. Your Honour, sir. Wait. Detective? Detective Gumshoe. Sorry I took so long, pal. I staked everything on this. My badge, the works. So here it is. My heart's counting on this too. What is it, Detective? Isn't it obvious, pal? It's the final, decisive piece of evidence. What? What? Okay. Sorry it took so long, pal, but I finally got the results from the lab. You finally got the results from the lab, hey? Well, that's good news. So just the results about the prints, pal, from this medicine bottle. Oh, so do you know who the prints belong to now? Do you think I'm some kind of hack detective? Of course I know. So tell us. They're the tigers, right? I knew it. You bet. Clear as crystal, all over the bottle. The Furio Tigris paw prints, all right. That's great. We've got him now, Nick. What's wrong with you? You've hardly said a word since Detective Gumshoe got here. He's laid everything on the line for this, Nick. I know. Look, I'm sorry. This is kind of hard to say, but it really doesn't make any difference whose prints are on that bottle now. Huh? What? Why not? What we need to produce at this stage of the trial is irrefutable evidence that the tiger put poison in Glenelg's coffee. He's already admitted that he met the victim. The fact that his prints are on this bottle, that really doesn't make any difference now. I knew it. Great. No matter how hard I try, I'm never of any use. Hey, don't be so hard on yourself. This was our last chance to help Maggie, and I've been working on some useless piece of evidence the whole time. It's all right. I'm a real loser. It's not breaking news to me, pal. Detective Gumshoe? Maggie? You've been working on something for me. Sorry I let you down, Maggie. I know you didn't do it. And I'm a detective. We're supposed to be able to prove stuff like that. I'm really sorry. I'll get out of your hair now. Detective Gumshoe. Wait. He's gone. Isn't there anything we can do now, Nick? I wish there was. Gumshoe worked so hard to get that evidence. If only there was some way I could use it. Okay. So we've got to go back in. Mr. Wright. Yes, Your Honour. I granted you a recess so you could prepare this decisive evidence you've discovered. Yes. Don't keep us all in suspense, Trite. Show us. Naturally. We can assume its evidence will actually stand up in court, can't we? Think, Phoenix. Don't let Gumshoe's hard work go to waste. How much more of my time are yous gonna waste? I ain't been to no court before. But yous lawyers sure know how to blow things out of proportion. No doubt. Given the nature of the evidence, it will speak for itself. Nevertheless, you will talk us through it, Mr. Wright. Well, I know I can't prove anything new with this evidence. I'm really backed into a corner here, but maybe if he thinks he's got me beat, he'll let his guard down a bit. Don't keep us waiting any longer, Mr. Wright. Present this final, decisive piece of evidence to the court. Okay. Presenting. This is the defence's final piece of evidence. Isn't that the victims? Your Honour, naturally, the court is already aware of the contents of this bottle. However, interesting new information has come to light. We have clearly identified some fingerprints on it. Fingerprints belonging to you, Mr. Tigre. What? But, Mr. Wright, what conclusion are you hoping to draw from this new information? Everyone in here knows what that bottle contains, except one man. One person in this courtroom should theoretically be in the dark. My prints are on that pansy-looking bottle. Is that what you're saying? Well, what the hell's in it anyway? A phony trial, a phony lawyer, and phony clues. Everything about this case has been phony. Seems like the perfect excuse for some phony evidence. Mr. Tigre, this is a decisive piece of evidence that will prove your guilt. Why? Because it contains poison. Let's lie. Phony evidence. This bottle contains potassium cyanide. Potassium cyanide? The poison used to murder Mr. Elg, Your Honour. The victim's killer used this very bottle. And on this bottle, Mr. Tigre, we found your fingerprints. Well, how do you explain that? You'd make a good clown, you know that? What? Yous ain't never gonna get this to stick. You's just making me laugh now. You think a cheap bluff like that's gonna fool the tiger? A bluff? I can see straight through you, Phoenix Wright. That ain't the bottle with the cyanide in it. No. This is the bottle we found traces of the poison in. Don't mess with the tiger or you're gonna get ripped to shreds. The cyanide bottle was brown and it was made of glass. That cheap piece of trash. Don't look nothing like it. I think you might have dropped yourself in it, my dude. Got him. At last. What? Why has everyone gone quiet? I said that bottle. Is this the bottle you're referring to? Yeah, that's it. That's the bottle the cyanide was in. Or yous ain't gonna find my prints on that bottle. Don't let that cozy-looking suit fool you people. That lawyer's just playing games. Tell him, Mr. Prosecutor. Tell that guy where to go. You still haven't figured it out? Don't you realise what you just said? What I said? What did I just say? You were summoned to this court for the first time earlier today. If you really had nothing to do with the murder, you shouldn't have known all the little details. For instance, you shouldn't have known what kind of bottle the potassium cyanide was in. But just now you slipped up in front of every single person in this courtroom. You described the exact bottle used by the killer to hold the poison. You don't know who he's messing with. I'm the tiger. I control millions of dollars on the black market. You think I'm going to let some jumped-up suit get the better of me? Sure, the last piece of evidence was phony. But that's just what you deserve. The phony trial with a phony lawyer. It was all played out by you, the biggest phony of all. What's going on? It looks like a blackout. Well done, Trite. I saved my 17th cup of coffee just for you. Savour it. While you watch the police restrain your prey. Mr. Wright, you caught a tiger by his toe, but if this one hollers, he won't be let go. Now then, how are things going with Mr. Tigre, Mr. Godot? He's being arrested on suspicion of the murder of Glenelg, Your Honour. Fortunately for us, we managed to rectify a very grave error. Ms. Bird was found guilty in the absence of a genuine defence attorney. Yes, she was. And in the absence of genuine evidence. But the tiger made one mistake. Indeed. He very nearly got away with everything if it wasn't for that one slip of the tongue. Furio Tigre is truly a frightening criminal. The truly frightening one is that defence attorney over there. Godot. Well, I am now in a position to deliver my verdict. This court finds the defendant, Maggie Bird, not guilty. Woohoo! Okay, that is all. This court is adjourned. January 8th. Mr. Wright, I'm at a loss for words. Thank you, sir. Congratulations, Maggie. I was so mad when Mr. Wright landed me on all that trouble a month ago. But now I feel like I can forgive him. Hey, that wasn't me, Maggie. That was the tiger. Look, Nick, in the doorway. Detective Gumshoe. Oh, guess I'll be heading off then. See you round, pal. Wait. Come back. Detective Gumshoe. Oh, yeah. Congratulations, Maggie. Thanks. I knew you were innocent all along. Why didn't you say that in your testimony then? Huh? Oh, well, Well, guess I'll be heading off then. See you round. Wait up, detective. He just ran off. Maggie, why are you being so hard on him? He busted his butt for you. It's thanks to him that we got the medication bottle. That wasn't even of any use. But it's only because Mr. Wright used it so cleverly. Detective Gumshoe was just running around in circles. Poor guy. Looks like she still isn't ready to forgive him. Can't you just put in a good word for him, Nick? Yeah, Maya is right. I should help Gumshoe out. It's clear he needs it. Maggie? You know, Detective Gumshoe's been really worried about you through all of this. I wanted to believe that, sir. But on the first day of the trial, he practically gave the judge a free pass to lock me up. He didn't have any choice, Maggie. He's a detective. He has to report the facts. He doubted me. That's why. He thought I might have done it. I've got to prove to her that Gumshoe really cares about her. I know. I'll give her a little present to celebrate her freedom. But we've still got the food. Here you are. A present to celebrate your freedom. That's a present from Detective Gumshoe, made with a ton of love. He said you lost weight and he was really worried about you. Detective Gumshoe. I actually really like weenies, you know. Did you guys hear that? I'm pretty hungry myself, you know. Yeah, the trial dragged on a bit today, didn't it? Is it okay if I eat this now? So, how is it, Maggie? It's really good. So the case of phony versus genuine comes to an end. The false allegations surrounding Maggie have all been cleared up. And who knows, maybe a whole new chapter of her life is about to start. Ah, that's nice. Turnabout begins. New episode has been added. Okay, let me see where I'm at. Let me see what's going on. Right, sister's on her way home. So, I don't know how long she's going to be. I don't know where she's actually gone, which is unhelpful when trying to decide how long she's going to be coming back for. So, how long have I been on? 2:22. Okay, I'm going to leave it there. We'll start Turnabout Beginnings tomorrow. I have scheduled it into my day for a quick stream around it's making day tomorrow, so we've got candles and wax melts to make, but if I put them on in the morning, get all of my admin done, I should have enough time for a quick stream. Yeah, okay, so let's go see if there's anyone to raid quickly. Let's have a look here. See if there's somebody we can go raid, and then I will call it a night. Oh, the guys are playing Lethal Company again. I do like that game. Okay, let's go and watch one of them play Lethal Company. Okay. So we're going to start that raid, and I will hopefully see you tomorrow. So thanks for following, thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, all of that stuff. It's super appreciated, and I will catch up with you tomorrow. Bye.